Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Building with Flo. Hope you're all having a good day. As you can probably tell, yes, I have been decorating my netherite armor with a silence armor trim. I used a gold material to trim it. That is what most of you and over on Reddit thought was the best looking armor, and I really can't blame you. It does look pretty nice. However, I don't really use the chest piece, so I'm gonna keep that in a chest somewhere. That's probably why they call it a chest piece. But let's get into this episode. As you could probably tell from that intro bit, yeah, I have been doing quite a lot of work on the inside of my dungeony, underground, farmy type area. So over here we've got the skeleton spawning, killing chamber. With the skelly slapper still hanging on the wall. We've got some sorted chests over here for the bones and the arrows, and then all of the unstackable items that make their way in these 6 chests over here. And over in these chests we've got a bit of a supply of regular bows to make dispensers if we ever need them. Some of the armor pieces that I wish to keep. And over here we've got some bone blocks. That's quite a lot of bone blocks. We can also make our way down here, and you'll see I have installed these little farm type thingies. Over here we've got one for the glow lichen. If we break one, it'll automatically grow back. The redstone of this is really super simple, and I managed to figure it out myself. So every time the glow lichen gets punched away from the observer, it sends a signal to this dispenser, and only this dispenser. That's why it looks a bit more complicated than necessary, I think. But yeah, that's very easy. I've got one over here as well for the glow berries, so we can just punch one off and it'll automatically replenish. I also did some work on the cactus farm over here. We used to have a big stone empty room with just some chests. I decorated it a little bit. I can put something here, something decorational, or I can expand upon this corridor in that direction should I ever need to put some more farms. And I also made this corridor to connect it up with a small farming area over here with the glow lichen we just saw. So that's quite a lot of progress in this base. There are still, however, quite a lot of corridors and rooms that I still need to decorate, like this very long one going all the way down to where I have my... what is it? The amethyst geode clusters. I got 2 of them right next to each other, and also I have the entrance to my yellow submarine, which I've built quite some times ago in honor of my subscribers. There is actually something that I need to do in here. Hi guys. And that is over here we've got the book of subscribers. This is where I keep track of my subscriber count and all of the milestones I reached. And I'm very happy to say that we've reached 250 subscribers like a few days ago. So I'm just gonna put August 2023, and that's actually pretty amazing. I really want to thank each and every one of you who has subscribed and who seem to be enjoying watching my videos. It really means a lot to me, so I really very much appreciate every single one of you. And so I guess the next goal is 500 subscribers, and you can actually help me reach that just by hitting that subscribe button if you're enjoying this video, and the like button while you're at it. And I know I really need to work a bit more on the interior of this, as well as this corridor over here, this tunnel, but maybe that is something we can do once we hit that 500 subscriber milestone. Now, something I have also figured out is what I want to do with this room, which has been empty ever since I started working on this underground base. It's way too long. I think it was episode 3 or something like that. A very long time ago indeed. This room has been bothering me ever since, but I know just the perfect little farm that will fit here. But first I need to tidy up this room just a bit. I get a nice trim going on for the ceiling and get some of the walls filled in. Perhaps something like this for the entrance. Let's have a look. Yeah, that looks okay. Fill in some more walls. And as a ceiling, let's go for the smithing tables. They make for an excellent dark red ceiling tile. Yeah, something like that. That looks okay. Maybe just some pillory bits in the corners over here. And lastly, let's just rip out this stone floor and replace it with something a bit nicer. And we're following the style of the rest of the base, so perhaps just fill in the edges of the room with a nice deep slate trim. And then we fill in the rest of it with the mangrove slabs. Yes, slabs, because this wood is super annoying to farm. Let me just fix this over here. There we go, that looks better. Yeah, so this room is already looking quite nice. I've added some more texture in the walls and in the floor over here. I also decided to keep only the windows on this side over here. And now this place is ready to install our machines. And you know how it goes with installing machines, it's gonna take some tinkering. So let's jump into a tiny tinkering time lapse. And there we have it. Yes, indeed, it's a little snow carpet machine, if you haven't guessed already. And this is just something that you can go very carefully in the corner over here, and then you can harvest a whole bunch of these carpets very quickly. I don't know why I would actually need a whole bunch of these, but just in case, you know, now at least this room has its use. And I know that one was enough, but for aesthetic purposes I went for two. This makes the machine look a bit nicer, and also I like the complexity of this thing and the many details. You can actually make some very nice diagonal lines going like this with the levers in opposite directions on the sides of this block. And I also like the grindstones on the back. I don't know what they're supposed to be, but there's something industrial machinery type a thingy-ish. Think it looks nice. And again, I'm probably not going to use this room that often, but I'm glad it's finally filled in, and it's no longer going to be a terrible eyesore every time I go through this area of my base. Speaking of eyesores, something else that has been bothering me for the longest of times is this over here. This grassy wasteland that used to be a stony wasteland, but I thought it would look a bit nicer if I put some grass on top, which it does, but as I recall saying back then, something in the line of this is still screaming to be built upon. And my plan for this entire area is to transform all of this in a custom mega taiga biome with the 2x2 spruce trees. It is one of my favorite biomes, and I think it's a bit of a shame that I don't have any of it on my island over here. I think it would look very nice if this dragon skull was like concealed, hidden away in the forest. I'm also going to tear out all of these smaller trees over here and mix in a bunch of the tall ones. And then in the middle of the forest, like somewhere about here, I'm probably going to put some kind of a small log cabin where I can do my potion brewing. Maybe some type of a witch hut. And yeah, I was thinking of doing a complete forest of custom trees, but I'd like to get this episode out before the end of the year. But first, I need materials. And all I needed to do basically is head out to a nearby mega taiga biome and just rip out all of the foliage I can find and place it down in my own custom little forest. Right, that should be about everything I need. Whole bunch of saplings, bone meal, ferns, mushrooms, some more ferns. Also a whole lot of coarse dirt and some leaves to spam around if necessary. Let's take these, and I really need to repair my pickaxe. And would you look at this? This is an absolute complete different piece of terrain than I had before, and I think it looks nice. I definitely think it's an improvement. But looking down at the floor, you'll see immediately that this dragon skull looks a whole lot cooler when it's concealed like in the woods over here. And you might notice it is quite a dense forest, and it is, because I wanted it to be at least a bit denser than the regular mega taiga biomes. And would you look at that? That tower like popping up behind the tree line over there. I like not being able to see my builds. May sound weird, but I mean it's true. If you have it concealed a bit behind something like a forest, it makes it look like it's a lot further away than it actually is. And this tower being concealed by the forest, I mean, it just looks better. Same with the dragon skull, you can see just glimpses of it, and only when getting actually closer by you can see the entrance of the dragon skull. I need to put some bushes in here, is what I just realized. Anyways, we're not finished. The forest floor is looking quite bland still, and that's where the ferns and the mushrooms and the dead bushes will come in handy. Also probably going to need some mossy cobblestone from the storage. Man, this is difficult to fly through. Let's decorate everything and probably get rid of some of these denser trees, the ones that have the leaves up until the floor over here. This one and that one. I don't like these as much. Probably going to have to replace these. Trees have been moved, and now let's actually start terraforming the floor of this forest over here by replacing all of the grass that's left with some coarse dirt. And who knew that this process would take actually several hours? Next step will be spamming a whole bunch of ferns around, like everywhere. And I should probably light this place up if I don't want it to be blown to bits. I mean, where do these guys keep coming from? Back to placing some more grass, some patches here and there to mix in with the ferns. And just to finish it off, some patches of mushrooms here and there scattered throughout the forest, just like the real thing. And just for an extra touch of colors, let's mix in some of the red ones. I know they're not really in a Mega Taiga biome, but I like them. And then the final touch will be putting in some of these rocks. Ladies and gentlemen, come walk with me through my new custom-made Mega Taiga biome. And it does look just like the real thing, doesn't it? Except slightly better. I made some pathways leading to places, and really I put everything in here you can find in a Mega Taiga biome. And also some glow lichen is what I added in the floors, just to prevent mobs from spawning just a little bit. And over here we've got a big X. This area is marked to contain the witch hut, log cabin, shack in the woods. It's gonna be a mix of the three of those, I think. And we can also follow the path all the way along here, leading to our steampunk area, which you can just like slightly see through the top of the trees over there. And that is really what I wanted to achieve with this forest, just obscuring the view, so it forces you to actually go out and adventure. And also I decorated the inside of my skull over here, my dragon skull, which I built to house my dragon egg underground somewhere. Just something I threw together quickly with some leaves and some glow lichen. And while I was using the coarse dirt, I thought, let's go ahead and cover everything up in here, and it does look a lot nicer now. I mean, I don't know, but I think that everything looks a lot nicer with this forest. Look at the iron tower over there, just sticking out of the treetops. I mean, it looks magical. Feels a lot further away, even though it isn't. As the sun is setting, you can see the glow lichen just slightly lighting up the forest. Still got mobs spawning down there, so I'm really terrified of creepers blowing up my hard work. And now let's build the thing I wanted to build since the start of this episode. Basically a place where I can brew potions. I'm going to build some sort of a shack in the middle of the forest over here. This tree is going to have to move, but just a little place that I can dedicate to brewing potions and have a whole bunch of brewing stands over there. It's not going to be very big, but then again, I did build an entire forest. So it's okay, I guess, if the actual build is going to be a tiny bit smaller. My goodness, this looks nice with shaders. We have a little cabin in the woods over here. It's very tiny and it's quite crooked, but that is completely intentional. I wanted to make this build look as crooked as I could. You can see none of the roof thingies are symmetrical, and we've got some damage to the house. And then a very bushy, overgrown roof with a small chimney popping out. Looks like a very nice abandoned little cabin, except it's not really abandoned. I did an interior. I did a bit of an interior, and it may be a tiny house, but I did manage to put quite a lot of stuff in here. First and foremost, we have the brewing area. I'm gonna turn these shaders off because my computer is screaming right now. Like literally, it was pretty close to catching fire, I think. We've got the brewing area over here. We've got 5 brewing stands, enabling us to brew at least 15 potions at the same time. And over here we've got lots of storage space. There's nothing in here yet, but these will be for my brewing supplies, some empty bottles, and of course a supply of brewed potions that we can just grab and go. And then back here we have kind of the living quarters. There's a small desk with some bookshelves as well, some shelves with plants, and around the back here we've got a sleeping area with a nice brown bed. But I actually have more plans with this. You may notice this trapdoor over here leading nowhere. I'm going to extend this and dig out a little basement area, and then perhaps I can build some sort of a nether wart farm down there. I think it would be pretty appropriate, having that here. But there we go, just a very tiny small build for me today. And also, yeah, quite a large forest. And I also got quite a bit done in the underground base. Actually, I've made a tremendous amount of progress this episode. I thank you very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this episode and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I'll see you next episode of Building with Flo. Goodbye.